Good evening. I hope you can hear me. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that, but it is what it is. Anyway, good evening. I'm a little early today, but welcome to Think About It Using Common Sense. Um, this week, or the upcoming week, I think we have about 7 to 8 days before election time. And this is always I call it a mud slinging time because it seems as though it's a constant battle or degrading of one opponent by the other. And to be perfectly honest, as far as I'm concerned, um, what do we, the people, really know about the people that's running for office? The only time we really hear about them or anything about them is during election times or a few weeks prior. And then they come out saying, well, we can fix this and I'm going to fix this and this is going to be fixed. And we still to this day, the year 2022, we still, I think, are in worse shape from what I'm hearing than we've ever been in. So therefore, from what I'm seeing, and I'm not looking at this from a Democratic perspective or a Republican perspective. I'm looking at this as a American Americans' perspective, and I don't see where they've been doing their job. Um, like nowadays, I think you can't even begin to run for office unless you have millions and millions of dollars. And then the people that's donating this money, especially these large sums of money to your campaign, I'm sure they're doing it with some intentions of getting something for their money. Because I don't know if people do anything for nothing nowadays. Very few. And even that's for something because you're getting self gratification out of it. So, but anyway, I'm here today because I'm tired of hearing it. Okay. And I think that it's time for the American people, and people don't have to agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, that doesn't necessarily mean that uh, what I'm saying is way out in left field simply because you don't agree. Maybe I see some things that you don't see, or maybe uh, I've had some experience in life that you haven't had. And we just looking at it through a different perspective or through different lenses. In other words, we are at a point where uh, we're trying to determine if the glass is half full or is the glass half empty. And my uh, answer to that is it's depending on which direction in which you're coming from. It will determine or is the determining factor of whether or not the glass is half full or half empty. But getting back to these politicians, as I was saying previously, we really don't know anything about them. So the only thing when I'm looking at it now, I'm looking at the parties, the people that is in charge prior. the people that they support, that the people that's running for office, who do they support? And the people that they support, politicians, what is their track record? What do they stand for? Because birds of a feather flock together. So if you're running under the umbrella of this party and based on this party's views, therefore you have the same views they have. Even though you may not be saying that in so many words, or you may be trying to distance yourself from that. But if the majority of the party is going right and you're one person going left, how much can you get done, if anything at all? And as we can see, what happened to, let's give an example, see what happened to Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney was a Republican. She supported Donald Trump until it got to a point where her views, where her line of integrity ceased or began, should I say, began at a lot of this stuff that was coming out of the Donald Trump's presidency, of his administration, when that she knew was a lie and she refused to go along with it, and she stood up, she stood behind it, like so many other Republicans did not. How can you go against, excuse me, how can you go against an election or a democracy in which you have been profiting from for 20, 30, 40 years? You've been a part of the system. Now, all of a sudden, when the seeds were sown that the election would be fraudulent if a certain person lost the election. And these Republicans, in the beginning, when Trump was running for president, they took it as a joke. They talked about this man, they laughed at this man. But I can understand, once that he did win, he won the election. No problem, no dispute. Even and I mean, it was a big dispute about his opponent's emails, which I think had played a big part in her losing. And I think she did have the majority of the popular vote. But nonetheless, when he won, there was no dispute. But now, in 2020, when he lost, same election, the same procedure, the same everything. Now all of a sudden, oh, it was a fraud. Joe Biden cheated. The election was a fraud. And it was proven by the high courts, by the people that went through and recounted the elections, the ballots, that it was a fair election. And yet, these Republicans refuse to accept the same process that got them elected, the same process that Trump won by. So, but Liz Cheney, even though she was a Republican, she put the brakes on. She said, "Oh no, I'm not selling my soul for this here. I'm not selling out my country for this. I'm not selling out. I'm not going against my party for this, even though others did. Even so far as to have an insurrection. From what I'm saying, I'm not, this isn't my conclusion. This is what has been presented to the American people through courts of what happened. And for what boggles my mind is for people to be thinking or saying how the Republican Party will win the Senate and the House in the upcoming election. I really can't even fathom the fact that they are running in an election that they claim is fraudulent. And I can't understand how the American people, regardless, accept politicians that's running under the banner that our election is not fair. That they do not recognize Joe Biden as the president of the United States. But yet these same people are running. And people are running under the same umbrella that Joe Biden stole the election from Donald Trump. I don't understand it. I really don't. And I wish I could. I do not understand that. And even more so, how is it that someone with the track record that's been exposed, that Donald Trump has, is going through right now, can even think about running for president in 2024? You might as well just take somebody off the street. Take somebody off the street and put them out there and have them to run. And this country is turned upside down. This whole thing is about race. That's what the whole thing is all about. You can say what you want to say, but at the bottom, at the end of the day, the bottom line, this whole thing is about race. It's about people of color taking over. Never happen. It will never happen, people. We can work along with it, better ourselves. We need to better this country because we better do that. Because if we think about this thing, it's not about race. You people might want to make it about race, but it's about the haves and the have-nots. You see, and then when the haves, when the have-nots get to thinking, some of them, it depends on what your mindset is. You sit back if you have that racist stuff in you. You say, well, you know what? These people have no business with this. If I can't have this, you're being put against one another. But guess what? Inflation. The rich don't see no inflation. The stores in the rich neighborhoods are packed, and they're packed with top quality foods. The businesses in the rich neighborhoods are flourishing because people have money to spend. Wintertime comes, the rich can run their heat all night long or whatever temperature they want to run. They're not going to get cold. And this is the reality, people. Inflation, they talk about inflation. When I hear on the news, all I hear these big companies is making money. They're doing record breaking profits. now. That's right, people. More building and businesses by the rich, and the wealth is going up. Unbelievable. But guess what? Poor, the low income, and the middle class, one and two, you're being left out. That's what inflation hit because number one, you can't afford, you don't have any money. The supermarkets, the shelves are empty, they're half empty. Winter is coming. Winter is coming and things is going to get high, people. They talk about on the news today, they saying whether or not people are going to, it's going to come down to whether you want to eat or stay warm. This is reality. And the thing about it is, don't have somebody that lives in one state that's rich that has no idea, no clue what it's like to be living in the ghetto or be without to sit up here and tell you what he's going to do for you. If you're going to do something and you know how to do it, you should have did it a long time ago. It's all a bunch of propaganda. That's all it is. So this is what I don't know anything about, but I'm basing it on where you're coming from. Don't tell me you sitting up here going against our democracy and you're saying you don't believe that Joe Biden won the presidency, but yet your president won by the same process and went through the same thing. And yet you're going to be on a ballot talking about running and you're going to support somebody and this person going to sit up here and this person can't tell me anything. And like I said before, birds of a feather flock together. And if the Republicans win, if the Republicans win this election based on what has been presented about the Republicans and how they feel about our government, how they feel about our president, how they feel about the people, no matter what color you are. If the Republicans win, America's going to lose. This country is going to lose. Because once you go down that road and you lose that and you put these people that believe in taking charge violently and not honoring our constitution, our democracy, and if they take that away, people, you'll never get it back. And I don't know what's happening, but something is happening not only in America, but around the world. Stuff is happening. And this is huge. And we're sleeping as a people, and we better wake up. Because I heard even I'm not too familiar with this, but they said the new president, leader, or whatever they called in Italy, they said this lady, she is a dictator that they comparing her to Mussolini, who was a stone cold tyrant. But she's the president over there. I think, did she get elected? So there's people that put these people in office. So what's going on over in the UK? Things is happening. But I'm telling you, if we don't come out and do some serious thinking, especially if you fall among the low income, the middle class one and two, we are in trouble. And we are the majority. We are the majority. So this is what I'm looking at when it comes to this election. This election is serious. It's really serious, and we need to stop thinking about this uh, uh, races and all this stuff. It's here. It's been here. But we need to work beyond that. We need to give these people some jobs. And this, it just isn't in Philadelphia. It's all over, everywhere. It's wars all over the country, all over the world. We don't hear about them. People are starving all over the world. We don't hear about it. And don't act like it can't happen here, because it is. They talk about, they was talking about some of these electric cars, electric trucks, 120,000, 80,000, 90,000, 125,000, 150,000. You ain't talking about no low income. You're not talking about no middle class, uh, one and two buying these vehicles. And then if you gonna have a problem, electric going up, you got to charge these things. Where's the money coming from? I'm sure the insurance gonna probably triple. Who's renting these apartments where you got one room and a bathroom attached, $1,400 a month? Who's paying for that? The low income, middle class, one and two. Who's paying for that? Who's gonna rent these places? Two bedroom, $2,500, $3,000 a month. Who's paying for it? Who's renting it? So people, you just use some common sense. You're not included in this stuff. And the only way we're going to be included, we have to include ourselves. We include ourselves by working together. And this is the reason. This is the reason why I'm the founder of New by Lou Incorporated, a nonprofit that we need to start working and looking out for ourselves, all people that fall under our umbrella. We have to create reasonable living quarters, reasonable rents, supermarkets, reasonable food, schools that teach people about the anatomy, teach people about laws, teach people about how to eat, teach people basic economics and how to use money, teach people the value of showing courtesy and love toward one another. These are changes that need to be taught. These are changes that's not going to come overnight, because what we are seeing now is a manifestation of seeds that has been sown year in and year out and year in and year out. And this is what we're seeing now. It's time to take the gloves off. It's time for people to start being responsible, because you're going to feel the pain. I looked at these. They had a movie, and the news. They have a way of showing things, and I guess sometimes you need to see things in a certain way to really get the ins and outs of it. But when I saw these kids with hoods on their heads just shooting guns, like popping, 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 like some purge movie or something. I mean, that is just, it's frightening. That will make anyone want to go buy guns and get security, this and that. So people are making money off of this. You understand? There are people making money off of it. There are people that have based their uh, uh, means of winning an election off a crime. They talk about the killing and the crime, but nobody talks about anything else. Where's all these seeds sown in these kids' mind? Were they born? Were they born with guns in their hands? Were they born with these negative views on individuals, on life? You know, and I wrote an article um, about kids, violence, and the things that they're doing. And I said there was enough blame to go around, and I got a response back that's saying, you know, it's the parents' fault. And I answered him, and I said, you know, you're right. It is the parents' fault. But if a lot of stuff that's going on that wasn't going on, the parents' job would not be as hard as it is today. Uh, I feel as though parents have lost their children. They lost it to 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 the internet, video games, social media. Lost them. Uh, Kids that are excelling today, these are the kids that the parents really stay on. They make sure they put that cell phone down. They don't spend all this time in front of the television. They make them go to practice certain amount of time a day or week to whatever, and they make sure they have goals. They make sure they understand things. They talk to them. You know, they talk to them with real talk. You know, not some BS type stuff. And that's the difference. It's not that some children are smarter. They may not even be as smart as your kid. But if you don't teach him anything, does it matter what he's capable of doing if you don't teach him to do anything? And I find this is the problem. We're focusing too much on outside of ourselves instead of inside of ourselves. The health is disgusting. We are disgustingly unhealthy as a people. In general, people are. They don't even care about. They don't even think about what they're eating. How's that taste? It tastes good. Give me some. And that's why everything has sugar in it, sweets. That taste, man. They want to taste. They want to taste it. That taste buds and killed. I don't know how it's worse than any virus. That's what it's a junkie, sugar junkies, sweet junk, sweet, same thing. The same thing. And you know, I was um I was in the museum about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they was going through this thing. This lady instructor was talking about the heart, and I asked her a question, and she couldn't answer it. And the question was, how long can the heart beat? She couldn't answer that. You see, people don't die from living good or thinking right, living right. They die from bad things. You see, death is something that we have created, you know, or comes out of negativity, and it's something that we have fixed in our minds that this is what we're going to do. So you start planning for it before you're even born good. So, you know, 50, not 50, but let's say 70, 80, 100 years old. I mean, that could be a baby. See, we don't know, we haven't spent enough time finding knowledge about ourselves to know anything. You just rely on some, scientists or doctors. They okay, but they can't tell you. No doctor cannot tell me unless he see the blood or something dripping out of me on that. The doctor can't tell me how long. Just like that woman couldn't tell me how uh how long a heart can beat. She said, I really can't tell you because I don't know. And this was supposed to be a heart specialist that answered that question. So we don't know. And we need to start finding these things out. We need to start putting life at the top, of the pyramid for us. And start living up to that. Start doing any and everything that's going to give us life and more life. And it has proven, people, it's not money. Love of money, and I wrote an article. About that. It was titled, it was titled, money is overrated, or is money overrated? One or two, but you know, I think it's overrated because at the end of the day, people spend their whole life accumulating extremely large amounts of wealth. But on their deathbed, they give it all up to live another day or to spend more time with their family or their grandchildren. So it isn't about the money. We need it, yes, you know, but it's dangerous. Money is very, very, very dangerous, and especially in the hands of wrong people. A person become a billionaire, a trillionaire. If that person doesn't have some kind of control or some control over that person, people can be very, very dangerous. They can put the world in a very, very dangerous situation. So we need to be careful of who we are voting for these days. We need to do some research. We need to put up a resume. Don't just come up there talking some stuff. Anybody can say anything. Let me see a resume. Let me see some documented uh, 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 information about who's running. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about this, and this. And if you tell a lie, you're automatically disqualified. If you can't lie, if you when you go to court and you're sitting up there in front of the judge, and the judge asks you a question, and you put your hands on that Bible, and if you answer and you tell a lie, it's perjury. You can go to jail for that. So why isn't these politicians that's lying? Why can't they go to jail for what they do? We have got to start holding people accountable. If you don't, laws don't mean anything. What's the good of having a law? It doesn't mean anything. And this is the feeling that I am getting now from based on what I am seeing from these politicians. They are above the law. They don't care. They don't respect the law. They don't respect what it represents. They don't respect our system. They don't respect our constitution. Nothing. And not only that, the American people must not respect it either. Because we allow them to do it. People treat you how you allow them to treat you. These politicians got a job that's sweet, man. They got a sweet job. They off more time than they on. They make buku money. You got perks that's out of this world. Expense accounts, tax write-offs, all kinds of stuff. Plus the amount of money that they make on the side. And we don't hold them accountable for nothing. And yet we the one put them in office. And we don't know anything about them. Nothing. So this is the only reason why I'm voting the way I'm voting. I'm voting based on who these people that are running Who do they represent? Who's representing them? Who has their arm around them? Who's patting them on the head? People, you got to wake up because like I just said, America, our government, our constitution, our freedom is on the line. And once it's gone, it's not gonna matter what color you are. And it's time to change. It's time to stop thinking about this, or maybe it is time to start thinking about inflation. It's time to start thinking about this climate change in weather. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see how things are changing. The temperatures, the fires, the hurricanes, the floods. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you that something is off key. You go in these supermarkets, you feel these things. Now they talking about the hospitals is full because kids in there are having respiratory problems. That's climate. That's immune system deficiencies. And they talk about 90% of the hospital beds are full already. It's not even flu season. Plus, we don't know what else is just laying down the pipe, waiting to jump on us. Because as soon as your immune system weakens, that's when these viruses come out to eat you, attack you. This is no joke. And it's only so much. It's only so much to be had. You can talk all you want to talk. You can sit there. You can protest. You can do whatever you want to do. But guess what? If there's nothing to be had, there's nothing to be had. If these shelves in the store it's empty, where are you going to eat? But I guarantee you, the rich do not have a problem with food, with energy, any type. It's time for us to start thinking about ourselves and how we're going to survive as a people, as a united people. It does. They don't talk about it. And if you think about it, if you open up your eyes and ears, they're talking about it, but they're not talking about it. If you kind of like read between the lines when they be saying the high prices of things and prices of food, price of real estate, and you just look at what you're making, and you're talking about people that's these kids out here moving away from home. They're gonna start moving back because you know why? Two or three or four can live better than one today. That's a fact. You got to stop eating so much. I went out to dinner. Went out to dinner the other day, and my friend and I, my girlfriend and I, we go to this restaurant. We would each get our own separate order, and 9 times out of 10, we could not finish it all. Okay? And the price was pretty expensive, but I mean, but the fact of the matter is, you were wasting food. You take it home, you might eat it later, but it's not the same. But so I said, you know what? Instead of us ordering, we can just go out and order one and split it right down the middle. And we both, that's what we did the last time we went out there. And I tell you, we both came out. I was full, she was full, and we spent half the money. You don't have to stack up with all that stuff. You know, and guess what? If someone came out, they might already have. I don't know. Open up a restaurant, half size. I'm just all half sizes. Boom, prices, half prices, a little less than half price. You're making money, but you know what? And the food, if with good food, good sandwiches, you would make so much money you couldn't even open the door to the restaurant. See, money, I've learned, money is easy to make. Money is really easy to make. First of all, everyone has it. Most people have it. And the only purpose of it is to spend it. So all you have to do is fulfill a need. That's why so many people, every time you turn the news on, they come out with inventions for this, inventions for that. Somebody came out the other day. I saw something the other day. It was like a U. You just put it in a regular chair and it turned into a rocking chair. You know, but it's fulfilling a need. That's all. That's what you do. And and the thing about it is, say you have something like that, right? Just give me an example. And even if it doesn't work, okay, say you sell it for whatever you sell it for. Let's just throw a figure out there. Say you sell it. No, I'm not even gonna talk about it because nowadays, if you say the wrong thing about something, people sue you for everything. So I'm not gonna say anything about that. But I'm gonna just use another analogy based on what I was saying. Um, Show you how people are. This happened years ago, and I was a vendor. I was learning how to vend back in the day. And when I was starting, this lady, she was selling wire bracelet stuff that she was making right down the street and selling these things. So she said to me, she said, watch this. So she took this wire, it was something like a clothes hanger, right? And she twisted it up and she put some like wooden beads on each end of it, rolled it up and put it on a table. I think she sold that for like $10 or $15. Yeah, yeah. I saw it. Now, when nobody told me, I saw this. So people buy anything and they have no clue what they're buying. You know, some people just value something because it has a huge price tag on it. You don't know what the worth of it is. You have no clue, you know. But it's just how things are. But we've gotten so far from trust, man. We used to trust people. You go out and you buy something from someone and you will go home and you feel good about it because you know, hey, you know what? Sure, you're gonna make money. That's you in business to make money, but you're not in business to rob people. And this is what it's gotten now. People are getting robbed. Robbed. I called the other day. I called a company, uh, cable company. So I called them, and I just didn't want to add anything. I didn't add anything. Did not add a channel. I just wanted to switch three basic, I think three or four basic channels and switch. Do you know to switch just to switch? No, didn't add anything. I had to pay $70 for the first month and $33 more each month thereafter. You know what I said? I didn't get anything. I just switched what I had. Couldn't do. I said, you know what? And I asked the guy. I said, well, what am I? What am I doing? What's the reason that this is I'm getting charged this money? He couldn't answer the question. He didn't know. So, you know, it's just crazy, and that's why we don't have any money. That's why there's inflation everywhere you turn. everywhere you turn. And until we start being aware and cutting back, you know, it's only going to get worse. And when things get worse, people feel as though they have to take their aggravation and their frustrations out on any and everybody. Some people do, and then it's a lot of pressure, on people. They feel like, well, society that did this to me, and then you see the people, the rich people, they go out and do whatever they want to do. Nothing's done to them. They commit these crimes, and then they're gonna come and arrest you and lock you up for stealing a peanut butter sandwich because you're hungry. Give you 5 years for that. It's a lot. And that's why I think so much is going on today with these powder kegs. And people they're just walking powder kegs, and they need something to do. They need some jobs. These kids need some jobs. They need some talking to, some real talking to. Um, that's why I have a counseling service that I do counsel people for free. I'm nonprofit. I'm here to help people. I don't want any money. You know, my age, if I haven't did what I'm going to do by now, then shame on me. So I just want to help people. I've learned a lot. I've been blessed, and I just want to help people. That's all. And based on my experiences and my ideas and how I live my life, it has got me to be 74 years old. I've never been sick a day in my life, thank God. And right now I'm at peace. I'm as happy as I've ever been in my entire life. And I'm still have so much more to live for and so many things that I want to do to help people and help make this world a better place because we need help. And if people don't help us, and when people have learned, if they don't reach back and try and help those who want that need help, then how are they going to ever get out of this? So many of us, we get out here, we make this money, and the money that we make comes from the people, comes from the middle class, comes from the low income. But they get this money and they run with it and they forget where they came from, and they don't even think about going back helping. I'm not saying giving them, but just helping. Help develop their neighborhood so they can have some reasonable apartments and housing. Teach them how to start businesses, and finance the businesses for them. Give somebody in the neighborhood a job, to accountant job, to figure out the businesses and teach them how to buy and stuff like that. We don't do that, but yet we'll sit back and complain how bad the neighborhoods are. We'll complain of how much shooting and how much crime there is in the neighborhood. What are you really, really doing to help someone? And that's the truth. Sometimes the guy told me, he said, I told me one time, I saw this, I was going to the gas station and get some gas, and this old person was out there asking for money. First of all, I said to myself, regardless whether you're trying to get over or not, if you're just in the shape that you look like you're in, and you ask for money, you need it. But anyway, what happened was, so I went over and I gave this person some money. And so the lady was looking and watching me do it. She came to me. She said, "Well, don't you know this person could be getting over on you?" And I paused for a minute. I looked at, I said, "I'd rather give it to him and him not need it for me not give it to him and he need it." And she paused for a moment, and I think she got what I was saying. But at the end of the day, you know, my blessings doesn't come from him. You know, uh, so if you believe, that's another thing for another day. I want to talk about. I want to talk about religion and how people believe, how people live their life. Uh, because I personally think religion is a way of life. I had an argument, a little heated conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and we was talking about religion, and we were talking about church and state, and I was telling him that I don't think you can separate church and state. That means separate your religion from your politics. And he said you could, but whether you aware of it or not, but your religion is your way of life. It's how you think, what you do, how you move. That's your religion. So how can you separate yourself from yourself? That's my belief on that. Just my belief now. Just like I have another say, I believe that your disappointments are measured by your degrees of expectation. Your world is your level of consciousness. You know, I think that falls in the category with so you sow, so shall you reap. These things, these are just, so you think and so are you. These are just basic. These are basic, powerful principles. And it's time for us to grab hold of these principles and grab hold of ourselves and see what is it that we want and see why are we in the predicament or situation that we're in, especially if that's where somewhere you do not want to be. And we have to look at the future. Even the squirrel runs out and store nuts in the summer, in the fall, for the winter. Squirrel has more sense than humans. Because at the end of the day, it's all about survival. I don't see any animal, and I've been looking, I don't see any animal when their life is threatened that they stand there and welcome death. I don't see any. They all run. But yet, humans, we kill ourselves, stressed out, abuse ourselves, we do this, we do that. And it's a reason for this. It's a reason for this. You know, and that's why I say it's enough blame to go around. There is. And please, please, everyone, take a vote and vote. You can't believe what these people saying, but you got to look where they came from. Because they'll tell you anything. They'll tell you anything to get into office. When they're in office, you don't see them no more. They don't come in the neighborhood after that. All they do after that, they look to the special interests where they can make the most money. So, on that note, I just had to come and talk. I've been holding this in for a couple of days, and uh, I'm going to get back on track. But I'm working on my nonprofit. I'm working on the counseling. There's so many things I'm doing, and also interior painting and design. So we can do so much. We can do so much, and their purpose is what put meaning and life into life. So, on that note, people, please thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful, wonderful night.